Welcome to another Relax, Focus, Succeed video. Today I want to talk about embracing other people's passions. Let me set a little context for this. I was on Reddit recently and there was one person who was commenting on some thread that was going on. And they kept saying, well, you should look at this perspective, you should look at that perspective. And they would give advice. And it was just another person giving good advice on Reddit, which is cool. And then they disappeared for a while and came back and said, sorry, my teacher made me put the phone away. And then I realized, well, wait a minute. This isn't a business owner. This isn't somebody who is an older person. Obviously, the teacher was probably not a college teacher making them put their phone away. So in other words, this was a young person who, for whatever reason, had really great advice beyond their years. Now, I have a bias. I have always hired young people, tried to be around young people. I've done a lot of work with high school students and college students because I love their energy and their creativity. But we have to realize sometimes that very young people often have knowledge what we would consider beyond their years. So what's going on there? How does a young person get to be super knowledgeable about something? Well, the answer is very simple. They have passion. Something entered their head and they said, oh, I want to find out more about that. And then they went off and educated themselves. They read books, they watched videos, they downloaded things, they participated in whatever that thing is and got to know it better than most people. I'll never forget when my daughter was very young, and I mean like 3 or 4 years old, going to pick her up from daycare, and they were involved in some activity that I thought was way beyond her skill level. And when I got there, they said, okay, everybody, time to clean up. And I'm like, oh, let me help. And they said, no, they can do it. And all these little 3 and 4-year-olds scurried about, finishing what they were doing, putting their work away, cleaning up things, and getting their coats on. And I thought, man, there's this weird disconnect that as a parent, my daughter has skills that I don't give her credit for. That basically teachers, others, were asking more of her than I was. And it really struck me that I need to ask more of her and just accept that she can do more than I think. Because, as a parent, you end up doing things for your kid. And of course, if the kid is smart at all, they're going to just let you do all the work. And so there's kind of this disconnect between their skill level and what is perceived by the parents. So then you skip ahead to high school and you find out that kids have amazing art skills and singing skills and music skills and running and jumping and all kinds of things that you may not have been aware of as a parent, because these things grow naturally over time and they get good at whatever they're passionate about. I find myself involved in way more business meetings than I would like to be, and a handful of them have people who are really good at sort of running online meetings as if they were in person. One person in particular always has an icebreaker question. Something like, what was your first job? Or, what was your favorite toy as a child? Something like that. And it's always interesting to me that this gives us a glimpse into other people's passions. When I've had larger companies and have gone around and had people sort of do the icebreaker thing, I always like to ask the question, What super cool skill do you have that we probably don't know about? And you'll find that one person races model airplanes, one person paints, one person sings in the opera, right? There's all kinds of things that people do. And some of them are skills that you think, okay, well, I would never do that, but it's at least interesting. Tuning into other people's passions allows you to see more of them as a complete person. And not only that, but it allows you to tune into skill sets that they are bringing to a conversation, to a casual lunch, to a networking meeting, or just to a barbecue. And so there's a lot about people that you have to realize that you just don't know. We need to slow down and engage with people at a deeper level. You know, some piece of this is have enough ego to stop talking about yourself and ask about somebody else and then actually listen. But you know, we all expose maybe 1% of ourselves to other people, especially in a casual setting. So invite people to share with you what they're passionate about, what gets them up in the morning, what motivates them to continue going, what gets them over, you know, difficult times, small bumps in the road when things happen. It will allow you to see much more of that person, and maybe you'll open up to them as well. It allows all of us to operate at a slightly higher level. So whether it's in your personal life or in your business life, consider the benefits of opening up to other people's passions. For Relax, Focus, Succeed, this is Carl Palachuk wishing you the best of luck in everything you do.